The latest Instagram news revolves around how many people use Instagram and new changes coming to the Instagram algorithm in 2025 that is sure to affect you. 3 billion Instagrammers. Here's how this changes everything. In this video, we're going to go into details of Instagram's 3 billion announcement and how does Instagram user growth affect you, such as the new Instagram algorithm changes for 2025. So let's get into it today as we help you step your gram up on the latest episode of the Social Roundtable. Welcome, everybody. Happy Monday. I hope that you guys are doing well today, as always. And we are so glad to have you join us today on this very incredible episode announcing the brand new news that Instagram and the head of Instagram, Osuri, has shared with us last week. They have reached 3 billion. But that is not just good news for them. It might be good and it might be bad for you as a creator and as a brand. So we're going to talk about it today. As you can see, we have no guest today. It is just myself and my incredible co-host, Megan. What's going on, Megan?
Yes, hello, hello. Oh my gosh, 3 billion? This is insane. Like I am so excited to see where we have come from and the advances that have happened and where it's going to take us, and excited to dive into this conversation, hear from you, your thoughts, as well as, everyone watching. So really dive in on what has happened and where we're going next on Instagram. So very excited to be here today.
Yes, where it's going is definitely going to be interesting indeed, because there's only been a handful of other social media profiles that have actually reached this crazy milestone. And we'll talk about and disclose some of those as well, because there is interesting aspect of what those are and how they relate to Instagram. But it's also probably more important in regards to what this means to you as a content creator and business. With now 3 million people, that's 6 million eyes on Instagram, if you want to kind of get to that point of math, social media math. But that is a lot of attention on Instagram. What this means for you as a business, as a creator, and what can we expect in the future. So we're going to get into today. We see that you guys are in the live chat as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Whether you're watching live or catching the replay, we definitely appreciate your presence here as we get into this conversation. 3 billion Instagrammers. Here's how this changes everything. So let's get right into it, Megan. I don't feel like we need to go and beat around the bush. We kind of said the news, but I want to go into more detail. You ready to get into this conversation today?
I sure am. Let's do it.
Awesome. Well, I want to lead off with our dear friend. He's a friend of the show. Not really. Adam Mosseri, hopefully, maybe one day, but better known as the head of Instagram. He recently announced on a reel that Instagram reached a brand new milestone. It actually wasn't that day that he announced it. He said it was actually a few weeks ago that Instagram has now reached 3 billion monthly active users, which is very important. The way that social media platforms measure their users, they measure by active accounts. So when you heard this news, Megan, I have to ask, what were your initial thoughts when you heard that Instagram has now reached 3 billion users?
How to even conceptualize it was definitely like, how do you even, you know, where everyone has known other platforms, which I know we're going to dive into, but other platforms to really be the place that you would expect to grow. And where Instagram gets so much slack, so many people say negative things about Instagram, but it continues to grow and it continues to outshine in so many different ways a lot of these other platforms that people compare it to. So I was really happy. Honestly, I was happy to see that because it shows there's just so many more people out there who not only are consuming, but that have that confidence or that desire, that drive, that purpose to create something and share it with others. So it's really exciting.
Yeah, I like the way that you're thinking about it in a very optimistic way. I wish I could relate to that because initially my first thought was, wow, that's a lot of spam bots that's going around on Instagram that they're accounted for. And I've seen a few people relate to that as well. They said there's a lot of spam. It's not, I want to make sure I make this clear. It is not the inactive accounts that they are counting. Like I said, it's the MAU, monthly active users. So you had to have had an account that has at least engaged on Instagram once during the course of those 30 days that they measured, which was, I believe, in August. I believe
Mm.
he's accounting for August, but he made the statement in September. So, you know, unfortunately, that was my first initial thoughts. But, at the end of the day, it's a really pivotal milestone to reach because not many other profiles, I'm sorry, not many other platforms have reached this status. But there were two sentiments that came to mind, both good, both bad. I'm sorry, one good, one bad. Initially, the good was it's a great look for creators, just as you said, with even brands. Your audience is there with 3 billion people. That's almost half of the amount of people in the world. 3 billion is not a small number to come by. Your audience is there. You can find them. It actually supports my concept, Megan, that I think traditional websites are not as essential as they used to be before. And I think more businesses and brands are focusing more on actual Instagram accounts. I feel like now when you tell people about a brand new brand or brand new product, they actually run to Instagram first rather than the website. At least that's how I do. And some of my friends and other people I know, like they go to Instagram first for a lot of these products and just get information from certain things that are official that normally 15 years ago, if I heard about a product, I go straight to Google and then find them on the website. It seemed like you could relate to as well. You pointed to yourself. You the same way also, Megan?
100%. Yeah, I don't even know when people have websites anymore. Like I'm always looking at their social media because, like you said, it's when you need that quick update, it's easy for the account themselves, easier to have that quick information content there. Granted, I know content takes a long time, but you know what I'm saying, like having important stuff there, like doing a website is just not something that everybody knows how to do, and it's easier for people to learn to create content, so it really allows us to stay more like in real time. And I personally love how it's mm, less like something about a website just feels like it has to be perfect, and
Yeah.
Instagram is way more like in real time. It's creators, the creator themselves, plus their tagged photos or their collaborating photos and videos, and it's just more authentic, I feel like. So I definitely judge from Instagram, not a website.
Yeah, and there's that word I thought you were going to drop, but I was going to follow up, authentic. And I think you've hit the nail on the head with regards to that. There's an authentic aspect that you get when you go on social media. And I'm not saying that it's all 100% authentic. I
Right.
mean, let's be real. It's still business. At the end of the day, there's photo shoots and the perfect models, and now they have AI that is creating a lot of the stuff
Right.
that it's forced us to think that it's real and it's really not. But I feel a little bit more connected to them on social media because on that platform, that's how I'm connected to my friends and other people that I meet. So I feel the same way with brands and other creators that I'm just not getting to know. So I
Mm.
barely ever go to websites nowadays. But even with that thought in mind, the negative idea that I had that came to mind was the fact that, and I've mentioned this before in our show, this is going to cause an even more significant supply and demand problem on Instagram. A couple episodes back, I spoke about Reels. I think is going through this problem right now. There's X amount of people on Instagram, but it's like 10 times the amount of Reels created per day. So you're like in serious competition trying to get your videos seen on Instagram. This was one of the reasons why I started to shift more to carousels. This less competition. But the supply and demand problem is just going to peak even more now because now that they've announced 3 billion, we're going to see a lot more people, I believe, flooding to the platform, and they're going to get more assimilated into what Instagram is focusing on. And as Adam has already stated in the same message, they're focusing on Reels because that's one of the biggest driving
Mhm.
factors on the platform. So I could see supply and demand becoming a major, major headache.
Mm, that is a very good point for sure. I mean, that's like what we're always struggling with of, I have low views, I have low reach, and comparing even to 2 years ago, it's like
Yeah.
extremely different. And it had to. I know we talk about um, the changes in the algorithms over the years, and we have to understand it had to do it because we have so many
Yeah.
people. We have to keep up with the way we consume content and the availability that we all have to create content.
Yeah, exactly. That's It's just a way of evolution on the platform. If it stayed the
Mhm.
same, I don't think Instagram would be around anymore. And
No.
speaking of Instagram, because there have been so many other platforms that have definitely been high and then they left. Some of them we don't
Mhm.
even hear about anymore. But there are a few that have remained to the top. And now with Instagram announcing that they are reaching the 3 billion active user level, it puts them in good standing with a few other apps that they should be familiar with, because one of the graphs that I seen come across when this news was announced was they created, and I wish I could get it, but maybe I'll find it during the show. There was a chart that highlighted all of the social media platforms by users, total users, and the top three were all owned by Meta. Facebook being the highest, and I believe that number right now is 3.05 or 3 billion and 50 million, if you want to get exact.
Right. I'm like, what is that
WhatsApp,
number?
yeah, I literally plugged it into Google, like, break that down for me. WhatsApp was a little bit harder to find. I know it's between 3 and
Mm.
3.1, but it didn't give me an exact number, unfortunately. And then comes Instagram, which just hit the 3 billion mark. So they're in good stands because technically they're all siblings under Meta. And I think the biggest insight or information you can get from this is that Mark Zuckerberg owns a lot of attention
Literally
on
what I was
social media.
thinking. It's like it's a good day to be Mark Zuckerberg. Like, okay.
Yes. Yes, that is a lot of attention on the top three social media platforms, all owned by the same company, the same individual, Mark Zuckerberg. So it's interesting to see that Instagram is in that circle, circle of siblings in a way, whether which one's the older brother. I think it's safe to say Facebook is the older brother, and
Yeah.
WhatsApp to a certain degree is almost like a twin to Instagram, but on
Yeah.
different levels. WhatsApp we more focused on messaging and is very popular outside of the States, but it's really interesting to see all three of them there. But that leads me to my next question, Megan, and I got to ask you this one because we can't compare without contrasting certain aspects of this brand new news. Once again, for those that are watching and just now joining us, we're discussing the biggest news that just came out from Instagram. They've just hit 3 billion users, total users. They are now number three in regards to most popular social media platforms. The first two being Facebook as number one and WhatsApp as number two. Instagram has now taken that third spot. They are number three. But I have to ask, with Instagram monthly active users now reaching 3 billion, Megan, can it possibly surpass Facebook, which I just currently stated is at 3 billion and 50 million? And it's almost, I'm off like maybe 10 or 12 users, right?
Right.
But they're at 3.05 billion and Instagram just reached 3 billion. Do you foresee any time in the future that Instagram can surpass its big brother Facebook?
Very much so for a couple of reasons. Um, First being that I think it's that generational where everybody, knows Instagram before they know Facebook if you're like just now starting to get onto social media. So that younger generation, I believe, would be introduced to Instagram before Facebook. And it might almost be like they get a Facebook because they have to link it if they want a creator account. Like I don't
Yeah.
know if some people would even think to do that with Facebook. So I do think the generation's a huge thing. Plus, I know you and I were talking about this a couple days ago, just how it's really easy to create multiple Instagram accounts for multiple different things. And it's easy to create Facebook accounts too, but it's just different. You're creating content differently, sharing things and connecting differently. Instagram pages being more free to create different themes and niches and topics. I think it's just a lot more enticing. So I myself have a personal page, business page, a dog page. So like I mean, it's easy to create lots on Instagram. And like the age, the generation, I think it's only going to kind of weed out Facebook and allow Instagram to just keep going higher.
I definitely agree, particularly with that generational aspect. For those that don't know, I am a father. My daughter, I only have one daughter, and she has just turned 14. And you know, I got that question probably since she was 12. Could I go into social media? The answer was no. She had to be of a certain age, and eventually she got access to it. But I have to tell you this, Megan, I am so surprised when I was really thinking about my notes today and this question came to mind. She's never once asked me to join Facebook. It's always
Yes.
been either Snapchat,
Mm-hmm.
YouTube, and especially Instagram, which she's
Mm,
now on. So it was very interesting. We had to have the conversation how social media works and everything, but she's never once asked me to join Facebook. And I think that plays a part in regards to what you were stating with the generational aspect, where these younger kids, Facebook is like a dinosaur to them.
yeah.
They don't care about about the dinosaur platform of social media. They want to be on a young hip thing, and that is something I have to respect Instagram about. They've always kind of refreshed themselves, whether they add reels, they've added,
Mm.
these brand new features to DMs and IG stories. Despite the fact that the algorithm doesn't work how we want it to work, it still keeps us connected to those that we want to be connected. And the younger generation is they are using it strongly in regards to communication and just staying in contact with their friends. A lot of these features that Moseri introduces, like to us, we're like, I don't want this feature. Maps? I don't need maps. We start thinking about
Mhm.
security. What do the kids
Right.
think about? We're going to go in and hang out. I know where you are now. It's like
Exactly.
the younger generation looks at it completely different. And that's one of the best things that Instagram is able to do. They're very cross generational. They give
Yeah.
some features for us, they give some features for the younger, even some for the older. And I think that's what's helping them win. So I
Yeah.
absolutely agree with you, Megan. I definitely think Instagram is going to surpass Facebook. I possibly, if I had to guess a time, I would probably say around this time next year, maybe
Mm.
sooner, because right now the difference is only 50 million. I say
Right.
only like I got 50 million users on Instagram, but they're growing to me at a much more accelerated rate than Facebook. And there's a few things that I think is going to push Instagram over. For one, the crazy obstacle that TikTok is going through right now with the US government. I think a lot of
Mm.
people are so confused with what's going on with TikTok that I feel like a lot more people are going to start putting more effort into Instagram. And I think particularly those that have left Instagram for TikTok, I think that you're going to see them coming back now to Instagram and making more of an effort here because it's more stable.
Mm.
One of the other things is the continued push in regards to DMs and Reels. That's exactly what's driving the new people to come to Instagram. They just announced that they're going to go even harder with both of those aspects. And I think that's going to get them to come over here. And obviously, what you said about the generational aspect, the younger crowd
Yeah.
are just more into Instagram and not Facebook. So the big brother can be surpassed by the younger brother. I think in probably a year, Instagram can overtake YouTube. I'm not YouTube, Facebook.
Hmm. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And whereas you were saying, the DMs are so important and they're going to continue to push that. I mean, think about that generation going back to the younger generation's more likely to just be interested in Instagram. It's because that's how they communicate. Whereas, like, we used to like writing on people's walls. Like, that's actually funny. I was talking about that the other day with a couple of my friends. I was like, you don't write on other people's walls anymore on Facebook. But that's how it started. You would like
Yeah,
randomly write weird messages on each other's walls. And now I feel like the only time you do is when it's somebody's birthday. You don't
that's
say
an
things.
excellent point.
You say
That
things
is
on
an
people's
excellent
posts.
point. Yeah.
So like Facebook just isn't naturally used the same way as Instagram. People like messaging, and even though there's Messenger on Facebook, it's just different. It's not in the palm of your hand right there, all in one app, and you're not sending each other content the way you do on Instagram. And granted, all these things, I understand some people do use them that way, but
Yeah.
and I'm curious from everybody in the audience, whether you're watching live or on the replay, do you use Instagram and Facebook differently? Thumbs up if yes, thumbs down if no. Or yeah, you can even let us know if you don't use Facebook, right?
Yeah, right.
Or Instagram, but
It's funny you said that. There's a lot of people that I know that is I would say in my family, those that are older than me do not
mm-hmm.
use Instagram. It's
Right.
strictly Facebook. and those that are younger, there's definitely a line where they use Instagram and Snapchat and some of these other ones. It's funny as I mentioned that one of our viewers, Alan, shout out to Alan who's watching. He said in the live, his teens have zero interest in Facebook, and I could so relate to that. He said they're specifically focused on IG and even Snapchat, and that just seems to be the thing right now with this younger generation. We've had platforms come and go. I remember
Mhm.
Clubhouse was a major thing at a certain
That was a good
point.
one.
Everybody was on it, and that just, to me, they didn't evolve quick enough.
Mhm.
And I think that's something that Instagram has excelled at, despite the fact that there were ups and downs with certain things, usually algorithm related, but they've always evolved and listened to the audience and found ways that they could please cross generational audiences. That's how I like to look at them. Facebook might have been a little bit slow in regards to certain things, but they ended up like throwing almost everything to the wall and then keeping what sticks.
Mhm.
That's one way to go about it, in my opinion. But yeah, that's really interesting. For those that are, if you guys are watching live, go ahead and put it in the comments. Do you use Facebook and Instagram differently? We'd love to know from you guys. And of course, if you're watching the replay, go ahead and put it in the comments. Once again, just in case you guys may have been tuning, just caught up in the middle of this discussion, wondering what we're talking about. We're talking about the latest news coming out of Instagram. They've just hit 3 billion Instagram users, monthly active users. And they are announcing a certain change that is coming to the algorithm. We're about to get into that in a moment. But there's so much good news coming out from Instagram that it's hard for us to keep up with. So we're going to continue doing our best that we can. And we do this every week on Monday at this same time on this show, the Social Roundtable. And we are so glad to have you join us today. And we'll love to see you come back again. So if you are not subscribed to either one of our accounts, let's see if we can make that happen. Hit the subscribe button and also don't forget to hit the like button so others can find our content as well. We would definitely appreciate you joining our community and look forward to seeing you not just today, but in the future episodes as well. And all of our other information, if you want to link and connect with us, is in the links in the description as well. So if you want to connect with myself or Meagen, please feel free to do that. Follow me in the links to our respective YouTube channels and Instagram account. Uh, Alan followed up what I read from him. He said on Instagram every damn day. yeah, yeah, that's my daughter. But I mean, then again, so am I. So sometimes they kind of see certain things from their parents. They learn from their parents as well. It's one of the things I try not to be so on the phone when she's around. I gotta be more
Mm.
present
Yeah.
in our quality time. So that's something that I try to do. But yeah, I could definitely relate with you, Alan. I don't see any responses just yet to the question, but I'll keep an eye out. I want to move over to our next question, Meagen, in regards to what I kind of teased. In the same announcement from Adam Mosseri, along with stating that they've reached 3 billion users, he also stated that there's going to be a new change to the algorithm. And I don't know about you, this change I am actually excited for. Uh, so I'll give a little description first. The change, or I should say, what he's announcing is, I call it more of a user customized algorithm. They didn't give an official name for it yet, but he's pretty much given us the power to actually change the algorithm and shape it to how we want. And almost those same exact words is what he used. I'm going to read this verbatim what he said. This new feature is a meaningful way to shape the experience and correct Instagram when it's getting things wrong and add things you love that Instagram didn't figure out. So we're going to be directly able to influence our own unique respective algorithm so that we get more of the content that we want and less of the content that we don't want. And this is going to be a feature that's found in settings where you simply go to the page. It'll have keywords that Instagram's algorithm thinks that you are interested in, and it's going to be giving you the ability to either keep those words or add new ones, or probably even more importantly, remove some of those out. And that's what the algorithm is going to use to focus on finding content that you are really in need of, that you want. He said it's going to affect first the actual Reels feed, but then you'll see it kind of filter down and it'll eventually affect the Explorer and the regular feed. So, with this brand new feature, Meagen, what do you think about it, first of all, when he announced it? And how do you think it will affect most users?
Okay, so I know I was very positive with my first reaction last time. I'm actually
Uh-oh.
not there right now. Okay, the overall
Really?
concept and idea, I think is positive. I think it's great because they are trying to listen to us. And I say trying though,
Mm.
because I actually think, for one, they actually did this. Like last year, was it when we could say not interested in that content? I am more
Yes.
interested in, like, in your settings, you can already kind of do this, but I don't think people were using it. So I almost feel like this is them being like, oh, let's revamp the way we already had things set up because they didn't naturally go in and do what we wanted them to do with that feature. Also, when you could add topics to your content, I think on the back end, it was, obviously trying to work with the algorithm to show that to other people who are interested in those topics. Third thing, I think it's I almost feel like it's what's the word? Where maybe it's them not actually listening to us. They're just kind of doing something to say they are, because I don't care what content I see. I care if my content gets shown to people.
Mm.
My feed is great. My algorithm's great. I see the things I like. I, enjoy the content that's on my explore page. I enjoy the content that I see on my reels tab. So I don't think there's an issue with what I consume, or the way algorithms work that way. I think it's actually really fast already and really good. So I'm kind of confused by it. I feel like it's a excuse to say we're trying to that we are doing something when they're not. Maybe that's just me completely wrong, but that's how I see it.
That first off, that's a very interesting perspective. I did not think about it from that point of view, and I think in many ways you're right. It's almost like an excuse to say, well, the algorithm's working this way because of you
Right.
and not us,
Yes.
maybe. But I have to say, I'm actually more for this than against it. And you brought up a great point. I didn't consider the fact that technically we can do this with the whole idea. I'm interested in this, or I want to see more of this. And I still feel like what that did was when I clicked those features, it gave me more from that account and not as much from that type of content that it was, because it was still probably confused. If I said that if I posted a post, if I liked that a post that was about a dog, and I hear your pup in the background, if I like to post about a dog, and it might assume that I like the dog, but maybe there was the environment that the dog was in that I liked, and then it might have
Mm-hmm.
got it wrong. Where this now comes in a more fine tune exactly what it is by using keywords. And this,
Mm.
I think, is going to play a major part in regards to SEO on Instagram, because now you can fine tune using the keywords the type of content that you want. So I feel like keywords now is going to get even more elevated in priority and importance, because now that we as a user can pretty much tell the algorithm, I want these 30 keywords and give me any content that works with it. Now, me as a content creator can say, I know which keywords to utilize in my content because I'm seeing these drive more attention. It's getting more reach. So that's how I'm
Mm.
looking at it. Unfortunately, this has not been released yet. He said that it's coming out in the next few weeks to months. And I have a feeling we're probably not going to see this probably around to like Christmas time or maybe even after that. But
Mm.
they are testing it. Some people may have access to it. It's not available to the full public, but I think it's going to be interesting once we get our hands on it how important of a role it's going to play to our experience on Instagram. Is it really focused on just the content creators? Is it focused more on the content consumers? Or is there a happy middle ground, as you kind of alluded to, that they can possibly be for a happy medium of both? I don't know.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, I also kind of think that it's a very basic feature. Like, I'm trying to think of other platforms. Like when you get a new TV and you go to set it up, and maybe you're like just got YouTube TV, and they say, "Let us know what shows you like to watch," and then
Hmm.
they recommend things like that, and they make sure that those are on your feed. Or when you open up Spotify and it says, "What kind of music do you like?" Or Ticketmaster, "What kind of
Yeah.
shows and entertainment do you like?" It's literally something that is at the beginning of when you sign up for all these things. And now Instagram, I almost feels like maybe it's a psychological thing. clearly I'm very negative about this. The more I'm like going down this spiral, I'm like, I really think they're not doing us a favor, but they're making us think they're doing us a favor. Feel like I'm getting played. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay, I'm very surprised. I thought you would have been more happy for this feature than I would have
I
been.
know,
I
I'm
really
usually not
thought
this
so,
negative.
but but I guess we will see what happens in the future as they roll out this feature and we got our hands in it and can play around with it. And I mean, hey, if it does significantly affect or even minimally affect my reach because I now am able to use it with keywords, I'm going to consider that a win. But if it
Totally.
is something like as you're kind of describing, where it's kind of like giving us false hope, false control in a way of what it was already doing, then I don't feel like I feel like it's gonna be one of those same features that we talk about for a week and then after it just goes away.
Right. Yes.
Well, how about you guys that are watching, whether you're watching live or you're watching the replay? We want to know how you guys feel about this brand new feature. Instagram announced that they're going to give you more control of the algorithm. You're basically going to be able to fine tune it. That was the word they Mosseri used. He said you're going to be able to fine tune your algorithm. They're planning to give us more control to control our experience and shape it into something we love. Will it actually do that? Meagen is doubtful. I have a little bit more optimism, but I guess we'll see in the future. But go ahead and share your comments, your opinions in the comments, whether you're watching live or in the live chat. And hopefully we can get in contact with you and have a discussion, a lively, fun, respectful discussion in the comments. Yeah, so I think I think we kind of wrapped up like all of the big news that came out of Instagram last week in regards to they've hit 3 billion. They're the third top most popular social media platform by total active users, and they are preparing to change the algorithm. Well, the algorithm is always changing, but this might be a more of a significant one to see how it works. We won't hold our breath. We'll wait for it to come out. But those are the major big news announcements that came out of Instagram. Take this how you want. Move forward with this. As we always say, use the tips and strategies that we shared here today and the news and move forward in the best light so you could always step your gram up in the best way possible. We are near the end pretty much of our live here today. We don't have any guests. Usually if we have a guest, we would have a little game or anything like that, but we don't have any guests. So we'll take a couple moments. If you guys are watching live, please feel free to put in any questions that you might have in regards to the news that we shared or anything related to Instagram. If there's anything on your mind you would like to talk about, now's the time. There's a few of you guys watching live. If you have any questions, go ahead and pose them and I'll ask them to the public. But during this time, I would love to take a moment and speak about what's going on in our world. Meagen, I would love to give you an opportunity to talk about anything that's upcoming, whether it's with your content, your offerings, and where people can find you as well.
Yes. Awesome. Well, you guys know you can find me on Instagram, here on YouTube every Monday. Heston and I show up live for you guys, sometimes with a guest, sometimes just us to discuss the top Instagram news, social media updates, and marketing tips and strategies. So anytime you have questions about those, our comments, our DMs are always open.
Yep. Hit us up in the comments and in the DMs if you guys are looking to get a little bit more connected with us. For myself, I am on Instagram and YouTube, as you can probably tell. Once again, please hit the subscribe buttons for both of our respective channels. And you can find all of the links in the description below of this video. We do this every Monday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We might have a little announcement of a time change coming in October. So stay tuned for that. The best way for you guys to get that information, any announcements from us, is to join us in our broadcast channel. That link is also in the description below. So if you join our broadcast channel, you'll be one of the first people to know exactly who's coming to our show, what topics we're discussing, and any other announcements such as time changes that we may be having. What's going on my side of the world? I am on school. I've been talking about it for the past few weeks now. I've started my own community, ManyChat School, and it's a community slash course slash just place to get involved and engage and learn more about DM automation and ManyChat. I have a lot of big things coming. This month, October coming, is Instagram Summit. I don't know if you ever have you ever been to one of those, Meagen? I mean, it's remote. I say went like you went
Right.
there physically, but it's remote.
Yes. Yeah. I have. I watched you last year. Was it
Yes,
last year?
yes.
Yes.
No, actually, no, it was the year prior.
Oh,
It's
dear.
time is
Yes.
flying. I think it was the
That's
year
insane.
prior. Yeah, time is really going by. But in October, Instagram Summit is occurring. It is hosted by ManyChat, and let's just say I got word. I can't say anything just yet, but I got word of a brand new feature that's coming that is going to change the game for ManyChat. And I announced it in my ManyChat school because it's not too big just yet. I put it there, but there's a big feature coming out from ManyChat. Make sure you guys stay tuned. We will be talking about that in the future. If you want to look for me, like I said, I'm on Instagram, YouTube, and Threads. How can we forget Threads?
I know
You
I
know, we
haven't been there
talking
for a little
about,
while.
yeah, really? Oh man, I'm still loving Threads. Speaking of announcements, Threads passed Twitter last week for a few days.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
passed Twitter or X, however you want to call it.
Hmm.
It passed it. X eventually took back the lead,
Right.
but who to think that after less than 2 years, I think that Threads would be in this position to overtake its biggest competitor. That might be some more news that we have to talk about when they show more of the numbers. But yeah, lots of
Yeah.
things are going well for Meta.
Yeah. They're not doing too bad.
No, not at all. Well, we didn't get any questions in the live chat. You guys were being a little bit shy today. That's not a problem. If you guys want to send us any questions directly, as Megan said, hit us up in the DMs on Instagram. All of our links are in the bottom. And for now, we would love to say bye bye to you guys. See you guys next week. Um, Monday, the same. It is next week, right? There's no holiday
Yes.
just yet.
It's
Okay.
the following
I
one,
feel
I
like
think.
this the following week is a holiday. Yeah. So we will see you guys the next week. We do have a guest as well, a very special guest returning to the show. Somebody that's familiar with the Social Roundtable, but she's never been on the show on YouTube. So we'll announce that also in the broadcast channel. So looking forward to that. Anyway, guys, have a great one. Enjoy the rest of the week. Enjoy your day. Remember always to step your gram up in the best way possible. Talk to you guys later. Have a great one. Bye, Megan.
Bye.